You think falling in love feels uncontrollable, like it's just happening to you. It isn't. It's a system your ancestors built, tested, and passed down over hundreds of thousands of years, because the people who fell in love the right way survived, and the people who didn't usually didn't. By the end of this video, you'll never look at butterflies in your stomach the same way again. Every one of us has felt it. A stranger walks into a room, and something in your chest changes before you've even decided to notice them. You didn't choose that moment, but underneath it, a very old machine had already gone to work. This isn't a story about marriage or loyalty or who ancient humans chose to stay with for a lifetime. That's a different question, and one this channel has already gone deep on. This is about something narrower. The exact instant a stranger stops being background noise and becomes someone you cannot stop watching. Picture a gathering tens of thousands of years ago. Scattered bands who've spent all year apart converging at the edge of a river to trade and feast. Hundreds of new faces in a single afternoon. More strangers than most people would otherwise see in a decade. No time here to learn anyone's whole story. Just seconds to sort every stranger into two piles, worth a second look or not. Your eyes get there first. Symmetry is one of the things registered instantly. A face built evenly, left side matching right, read by the brain as a sign of a body that grew up healthy, free of poor nutrition and injury. You don't calculate this. You just feel a pull and call it attractive. Scent does its own quiet work. In the 1990s, a Swiss researcher named Klaus Wedekind ran what's now called the sweaty t-shirt study. Men wore the same shirt for 2 nights. No soap, no cologne. Women then rated which scents they liked best, and again preferred the scent of men whose immune systems were built most differently from their own. Different enough that a child from that pairing would inherit a wider defense against disease than either parent carried alone. No one at that gathering had ever heard the words immune system. The nose didn't need the vocabulary, it only needed the result. But looks and scent could only get someone through the door. A healthy stranger who shared nothing, who ignored a child that wasn't his, was a dead end. Because generations back, the people who paired with generous cooperative partners raised more children who survived, and the people who didn't usually raised fewer. So a second test ran quietly underneath the first. Watch how a stranger treats someone who can do nothing for them in return. Watch what happens to the last piece of food when someone nearby hasn't eaten. None of it looked like a test. It looked like an ordinary evening, but the brain was scoring every second of it. There was a third test too, quieter still, and it had nothing to do with health or generosity. It was about fit. Psychologists call this assortative mating, the well-documented tendency for people to end up with partners who resemble them in values, temperament, even skills, far more often than chance would predict. A woman raised around the healers of her band would light up meeting a stranger who knew exactly which roots calmed a fever. A man known for tracking would light up meeting someone who could read a trail just as well. It didn't feel like a calculation. It felt like being understood. But underneath, it was matching two people likely to work well as a team long after the fires burned down. At a gathering like this, dancing itself became a kind of open display. Young men in particular threw themselves into it, leaping higher, showing off strength and stamina in front of dozens of eyes at once, most of them belonging to people they might never see again if the moment didn't land. It looked like celebration. It also happened to be advertising. Then something happens that most people never notice while it's happening. Two people start moving the same way. One leans forward, and a moment later, so does the other. One laughs, and the other's laugh arrives half a beat behind, almost like an echo. Researchers call this the chameleon effect, documented by psychologists Tanya Chartrand and John Bargh in the late 1990s. Without deciding to, people unconsciously mirror the posture, the tone, even the breathing of someone they're drawn to. And the more it happens, the stronger the pull grows on both sides at once. Inside both skulls, something enormous is happening. Decades later, anthropologist Helen Fisher put people in the earliest weeks of falling for someone into a brain scanner and showed them a photo of the one person they couldn't stop thinking about. A structure called the caudate nucleus lit up harder than almost anything else Fisher had recorded there, part of the same reward circuit that fires from a drug or a win or a rush of danger. Evolution didn't build a soft, gentle feeling to guide two strangers together. It reached for one of the strongest reward systems the brain owns and pointed the whole thing at a single face. Once that circuit switches on, it doesn't stay quiet. You find reasons to walk past wherever they might be. You replay a 2-second exchange for the rest of the day. Sleep gets harder. Food tastes slightly less interesting than it did a week ago. You notice Notice, with something close to panic, the moment someone else stands too close to them. This intensity isn't a flaw. It's the point. A genuinely new person, someone from a different band, might cross your path once or twice a year at most, at a gathering exactly like this one. Miss the moment, and it might not come again for a long time. So evolution didn't build a feeling that politely waited for a convenient time. It built urgency, strong enough to make a person cross the fire, start a conversation with a stranger, risk being turned down in front of everyone without pausing to weigh the odds first. The odds were never the point. Making sure the moment mattered enough to act on was. None of this switched off when humans stopped living at riverbank gatherings and started living in houses, in cities, on phones. The same caudate nucleus lights up scrolling a screen at 1 in the morning as it did around a fire tens of thousands of years ago. The same mirrored laugh, the same lingering glance, the same quiet obsession, running on a hardware never built for apartments, group chats, or strangers who can disappear the moment you close an app. You didn't invent the feeling. You inherited it, fully assembled from people who felt it before there was a word for it, before a single wedding or a single love song, in a world where getting the moment wrong could mean it never came again. It's worth sitting with how strange that actually is. A feeling you never designed, refined across more generations than anyone can picture, for one job only, making sure you didn't let the right person walk away. So the next time your stomach flips before you've even said a word to someone, you'll know what's actually happening underneath it. Not magic, not chance. A very old machine built by people who are long gone now, running exactly the way it was built to run, inside you. If you want to know what happened after that first spark, whether ancient humans actually stayed with the people they fell for, that's a different story, and this channel has already gone deep on it. Go watch that one next. And if this changed the way you think about the last time your heart skipped a beat over someone, tell me about it in the comments. Subscribe if you want more of how the ancient brain is still quietly running the show today.